Hello, this is Mario Toneguzzi coming to you today with Calgary's podcast, a member of Canada's podcast network, where we talk to the entrepreneurs who are making it happen in Calgary, Alberta, so you can listen, discover, and engage. Today's guest is Paven Nijjar, who is owner of Diamond Glass and of Samosa Factory. Welcome to the show, Paven, and thanks for taking the time today to be here for our listeners.
Thank you, Mario, for having me.
Tell us a little bit, first of all, about Samosa Factory and a little bit of its history and how it started.
So we started the Samosa Factory back in 2007. It started off just being a small idea while we were working corporate jobs, and suddenly it became a viable business where we were buying a commercial condo. We started making samosas by hand. And 11 years now down the road, we have a full production facility where we supply samosas in Calgary, in and around Alberta, I guess I can say, out towards even Vancouver and other places in British Columbia.
Okay, and a little bit about Diamond Glass. Tell us a bit about the story of Diamond Glass and your involvement in that company.
So Diamond Glass, my husband and I purchased a little bit over 3 years ago. It is a full-service auto glass company where we take care of auto, commercial, and residential glass. Currently, we've got one location in the northeast end of the city, and we're looking to expand into our second one in the south.
What are the benefits of doing business in Calgary?
I think I'd have to say that doing business in Calgary, despite the economy that we've had over the last few years, is that we're able to provide affordable products for both of our business to the Calgarians here.
Okay, and what about challenges in business?
Challenges definitely have been the economy, especially with Diamond Glass, because it's more of a service industry. Nobody is putting windshield repair on their top list. It's not the priority. The Samosa Factory hasn't taken a hit yet, thank God. Let's knock on wood on that one. It's a product that people just come in and buy, so we're fortunate that way.
Why would you recommend Calgary to entrepreneurs who are looking to start a business?
I think with the support in Calgary, there's so many different organizations that are helping AWE. The banks here are great. Real estate is affordable. Leasing is affordable at the moment, depending on where you're going. And being a smaller city, I feel like the challengers are less versus Toronto or Vancouver.
You know, a lot of times we get ideas in different places and in different ways. Is there something that you do to sort of get away from the business, but yet, you know, ideas spring to mind about the business for you? Places you might go or do that you get inspired?
Well, my daily routine is I go to the gym in the mornings. That's where I do a lot of my thinking. So I do come up with some crazy idea somewhere. When I get out of there, I'm like, oh, I should open up another business that's going to solve this problem. But then I've got to wean myself back into it and say, no, that's not doable. I'd have to say the gym.
What are you most excited about your two businesses right now?
I'm excited that I get to go in every day and open the door. I think with the economy, like I've said before, that's exciting that every morning I can get up and at least open the business and we close on time, right? We're able to employ between both businesses about 50 people. And I think we're fortunate to say that.
What's been the biggest challenge, being an entrepreneur? What's been the biggest challenge you've had to face and deal with?
I'd have to say making mistakes. I make lots of them and then I have to learn from them. And sometimes I make them twice. And sometimes even taking feedback, sometimes even, the criticism that you get, I think that's been the biggest challenge. Because as much as you say, I'm open-minded and I like to get the feedback, sometimes I still feel like I put my back up against the wall on that when I am getting negative feedback on things.
You know, obviously you've talked to a lot of people in your lifetime as an entrepreneur. Is there something that you recall as the sort of the best piece of advice you've ever received?
I would say we've got a lot of friends that do business as well. And I think talking to most of them, the feedback I get is that just keep on doing what you're doing. You're going to fail. You got to get up and do it again. So I think just being persistent and keep going at it.
I'm going to switch gears here and talk a little bit about yourself, your personal life. You know, everybody's got a bucket list these days of things they want to do or accomplish. What is on top of your bucket list?
So I'd have to say that my bucket list changes year over year. This year, the goal for me is to take more vacations and take time for myself. I'm turning 40 in January, so I'm trying to make the most of it.
Now, if you weren't doing what you're doing now, any thoughts of what you would do?
I think I'd be working some sales jobs somewhere in some cubicle, but I'm glad I'm not there.
Okay. What are you reading these days?
Currently, I'm reading How to Raise an Adult. I'm doing this because I've got a 10-year-old son, and I'm trying to figure out how I can groom him into being an adult and not always having to baby him. That's what I'm reading right now.
If you had one word to describe yourself, what would it be and why?
I'm a go-getter. And the reason I would say that is I don't give up easily. Like I said, I make mistakes, but I'm always trying over and over again. I never cut my losses. Obviously being a business owner is a lot of stress and stuff like that, but just wondering if there's anything that's keeping you up these days at night. As a business owner, yes, every day is a challenge, and keeping me up at night. The biggest thing that keeps me up at night is the fact, how do I grow? How do I do more? Those are the things that come to mind.
What's your favorite place in the world outside of Calgary, and why?
I'd have to say I'd go back to Scottsdale, Arizona. And the reason why would be I love the warmth. I love the fact that there's so many outdoor things to do and I can just disconnect and enjoy like a carefree life.
Now, you mentioned a little bit about the gym earlier. Maybe if you could explain, do you have a daily routine? What does it look like?
Yes, generally the day starts early. I try to hit the gym in the morning, so it's out of the way. And once I get home, it's just a routine of being a mom, getting my son out the door, and then I tend to get to work for about 8 or 9. And the day just goes by. I mean, I'm not done till 5 or 6. But as an entrepreneur, I'm actually never done. That's just the time I actually leave work. Mm-hmm. But I mean, that job never ends.
I'm going to ask you kind of a different kind of question. If you can imagine being on a small tropical island in the middle of the ocean, and there's only one phone booth there and no internet. Now, we're going to drop you off there at the island. You can use the phone at any time to call us, and we'll bring you back to civilization, so to speak, I guess. Now, how long do you think you would last on the island and before making the phone call to come back? And what do you think you would do while you were there?
In all honesty, I don't think I'd last a day. And the only reason is because on a day-to-day, I feel like I manage a lot in my life. And so the worry of thinking that everything is falling apart on the other side would worry me. So I'd be the first one to pick up that phone. In the event that I did decide to stay, I would actually take the time to really reconnect with myself.
Sounds super. Is there anything you'd like to add, Paven, before you leave us today?
I'd like to say thank you for having me on this podcast. And I encourage other entrepreneurs and, people that want to start this journey to do it.
Thanks for being our guest today in Calgary's podcast.